All right, guys, today we're going to be discussing the mechanisms of action that Lovastatin has on reducing high cholesterol. These kind of deep dive presentations on certain drugs are pretty fun to cover because I, like a lot of you, are taking this class to further my journey into the medical field. So, looking into the specific pathways that medications that are prescribed to patients is it's pretty important in understanding like when to prescribe someone a medication, as well as understanding the potential side effects, because as we have learned throughout this course, all the body's metabolic pathways are pretty interwoven and connected to each other in some way. So let's get into it. So first off, what is cholesterol? I think the average person today hears cholesterol and thinks bad, which is kind of rightfully so, because 31% of adults in the US have high cholesterol. And I think most understand that it has to do with dietary habits, and understand that for whatever reason they hear cholesterol is bad. Um, Basically, any animal product you eat, anything with a liver, is going to have cholesterol in it. However, I feel like some people don't know that we, like other animals, produce a cholesterol for a myriad of bodily functions. And it's important. It's an important. Here's the kind of the structure, general structure of cholesterol. It's an important lipid present in every cell. As we know, cell membrane is made up of the phospholipid bilayer. It's a delicate microenvironment, and cholesterol kind of hanging out right here in the phospholipid bilayer. It ensures that it's the correct consistency. It also is very important for the production of steroidal hormones, or signaling hormones like progestogens, glucocorticoids, androgens, and estrogens. So cholesterol will help with the synthesis of that, vitamin D, and as well as stomach bile. Normal level of cholesterol in an adult is about 200 milligrams per deciliter. And on the high end would be a level of 240 milligrams per deciliter, and anything in the middle, in between those ranges, would be considered borderline high cholesterol. So I'm going to do a very brief overview or run through of how cholesterol is synthesized, and then come back to the most important step in regards to lovastatin's action on the pathway. So basically, cholesterol is going to be synthesized at the cellular level in the endoplasmic reticulum and the cytosol of the cell. Like I said, it's present in every cell, but mostly in the liver cells. It's going to be the most important for production of bile in response to the other tissues' cellular cholesterol levels. So basically, the liver is going to get signals from the other cells on how much cholesterol it's going to need to produce. It's derived from acetyl-CoA that's taken from the mitochondria, as we have kind of talked about already, and synthesized into mevalonate. It's going to take place in basically three major steps. So we'll see mevalonate. Each step is going to use ATP in producing this isopentenyl pyrophosphate in three consecutive reactions. An activated isoprene unit is essential because it's a building block of cholesterol. So basically, we're going to see ATP being used in this reaction sequence. And then from there, we're going to have the isopentenyl pyrophosphate be synthesized into squalene. I think I'm saying that right. So squalene is formed from the condensation of six molecules of isopentenyl pyrophosphate. Squalene is first activated by the conversion into squalene epoxide. Here we can see that epoxide group right there. And then we're going to basically see this carbon chain double bond structure through this reaction sequence be converted into the carbon ring-like structures we see in cholesterol, the multi-step process, during which 3 carbon units are removed, and subsequently is going to be converted into the cholesterol that we, or our liver, packages and sends throughout our blood vessels. And we'll take a look at that here. So cholesterol is made, like I said, or packaged in the liver. For the most part, low density lipoproteins are circulated through the blood. So that's what you the low density, or LDLs as I refer to them, that is what you can consider like the bad cholesterol that people talk about. If not picked up efficiently, they'll circulate the blood and they'll start to stick together and start to form plaque in the arteries. Plaque causes arterial sclerosis, which is basically a narrowing of the arteries or the blood vessels. And if ruptured, it can cause blood clots that form occlusions to, if it reaches the coronary arteries or the carotid arteries are blocked. The clots will cause myocardial infarctions and strokes, respectively. So it's the responsibility of the high density lipoproteins, or HDLs, to circulate the blood. They're basically turned into HDLs from LDLs, and they're going to pick up the LDLs in the blood and take them back to the liver so they don't form plaque and eventually cause blood clots. So naturally, it's pretty easy to understand why we would want those low density lipoprotein levels to be low so that they don't form blood clots and potentially cause heart attack or stroke. So we're going to talk about next Lovastatin, which is a drug that is prescribed to help prevent or prevent high cholesterol, and we'll talk about the pathway by which it, and to understand the action that lovastatin has in lowering cholesterol, we should probably look at the first steps of cholesterol synthesis. So before isopentenyl pyrophosphate is formed, we have the important intermediate, the 3-hydroxy-3-methyl-glutaryl CoA, which will be synthesized into mevalonate by HMG-CoA reductase. The synthesis of mevalonate is the committed step, which just means it's an irreversible step of cholesterol formation, and the rest of the pathway is dependent on it. So if you can prevent the synthesis of mevalonate, specifically by preventing the enzyme that catalyzes the reaction, HMG-CoA reductase, you can prevent the formation of cholesterol. So lovastatin will competitively inhibit 3-hydroxy-3-methyl-glutaryl coenzyme A reductase. Here we can see its inactive structure. Lovastatin is activated in vivio, which just means in your body, like when you take it. So by the hydrolysis of the lactone ring. So here we can see the lactone ring specifically right here. The hydrolysis of that oxygen will get a proton and basically break the ring structure, allowing it to bind to HMG-CoA. And here we can see a statin, in our case, what we're talking about, lovastatin, binding to this enzyme. And as we know, if we can fit something else in that enzyme other than this 3-hydroxy-3-methyl-glutaryl CoA, it's basically going to prevent this molecule from being turned into mevalonate. From there, the liver, so there's not going to be as much cholesterol circulating through the blood. So the liver cells will express LDL receptors and pull cholesterol from the blood to compensate for cholesterol production being lower, as it still needs cholesterol to produce bile. So taking lovastatin can reduce mean plasma cholesterol levels by 19%. And low density lipoprotein levels by 23%. So having those excess LDL molecules out of the blood from lovastatin therapy can severely decrease plaque buildup, potential blood clots, and potentially fatal heart attacks and strokes. So yeah, that is why lovastatin will be prescribed to someone with high cholesterol levels. It's not without side effects. Some people report muscle weakness or pain. That could be due to, as we've talked about, all the metabolic pathways in the body are connected. So it's not completely understood why lovastatin can cause some muscle pain or weakness, but it could have to do with the prevention of cholesterol being formed, and one of the byproducts in the metabolic pathway could be responsible for the formation of CoQ10, which is used for very energy costly tissues like muscle tissue. So if you're not getting that CoQ10, it can perhaps cause the muscle pain or weakness. So yeah, that is the mechanism by which lovastatin effectively lowers cholesterol by preventing its synthesis.